I was stunned by a shocking truth and became dazed. Out of the blue, she blurted out to me, "I just can't be without you." Cutting me off, she looked straight into my eyes. Her gaze conveyed a strong determination. Her expression was pure seriousness. "My name is Kevin. I'm a 27-year-old graphic designer. Currently, I work for a major design company, handling various tasks like designing posters and book covers. Despite I graduated from a vocational college 3 years ago, I won a design contest with a poster which landed me a job at this company. Until then, I had been freelancing, but after showing off my award-winning design, I miraculously received a job offer. The poster I submitted in the contest had a mermaid theme and was titled Mermaid Princess. It depicted a deep-sea mermaid swimming up towards the surface. The design transitioned from dark to light colors, creating a feeling of hope, which was highly praised by the judges. I have a strong attachment to this Mermaid Princess work as it was a turning point in my life. A job at a major company allowed me to be involved in various projects and led to fulfilling days. However, I had one concern. It was my boss, Director Bob. "Kevin, the font color doesn't match the background. Redo this flyer's design." From my perspective, who have studied at a prestigious art college, navy is better than blue in this case. Saying so, Bob threw the flyer at me. Thinking here we go again with his nitpicking, I replied, "Got it," and immediately turned to my computer. Director Bob had graduated from a renowned art college, and thus held immense confidence in his taste and education. For that reason, he clearly didn't like the fact that I, a mere technical college grad, joined the same company midway. Just like now, he always nitpicked at my works, suggesting to change the color or switch the motif from flowers to stars, and demanding numerous revisions. Of course, as a designer, my goal is to produce better works. But the tricky thing with Bob was that he often changed his feedback. As expected, after I switched the font color from blue to navy and presented it, Bob ordered another revision. "You know what? Blue was better. No hard feelings, but artists go through many iterations to create masterpieces. This will be a great learning experience for you, as you have not properly studied at an art college." Saying so, Bob handed back the flyer with a sneer. Feeling the malice from Bob, I once again replied, "Understood," and ended up working overtime that day. With all the overtime work and the way I was being treated, I was starting to feel down. But I genuinely love my job as a graphic designer, and I also wished to become a designer who would someday earn Bob's respect. But man, I sure could use some emotional support. Late at night, after finally finishing up, I felt a pang of sadness while heading home on the last train. Looking back, when I was freelancing, I was always busy due to financial constraints. In such a situation, romance was out of the question, and since my college days, I had always been alone. But someday, I'd like to get married. I thought, maybe now is the time to take some action. However, as I was suddenly driven by that urge, I was still unsure how to proceed since I had been away from dating for so long. So, the next day, I decided to seek some advice from my cousin, whom I regard as my elder brother, John. When I called him, John suggested, "If you're up for it, I know a woman I'd like to introduce you to. She's a 26-year-old freelance illustrator and a friend of my wife." An illustrator? I'm intrigued. If she's okay with it, I'd definitely like to meet her. Thus, through John, I got a chance to meet this woman. We planned to have a matchmaking date at a cafe lounge in a week. The woman's name is Catherine. I got to see her picture on a phone, and she was a beautiful lady with long flowing black hair. Despite I'm not that good looking, I showed Catherine my picture through John, and thankfully, I seemed to be within her acceptable range. Now, all that was left was to meet in person. Nervously anticipating our meetup the next day, I received an unexpected call at work. Suddenly summoned by Director Bob, I wondered what was up. Entering his office, Bob, with a smirk, began. "Kevin, I've been thinking of transferring you. The official notice will be out in 2 weeks. Start preparing for your new location so you will be able to begin working in a month." "Wait, you are transferring me?" Caught completely off guard, I was taken aback. The branch office he referred to was also known as the dumping ground for sidelined employees, infamous for hardly getting any design work. Why would I, who can handle designs at the main office, suddenly be transferred to that branch? When I voiced my confusion, Director Bob, with his usual condescending attitude, continued. "Well, Kevin, you've been working more overtime than other employees, and frankly, your level aren't enough for the main office. If you're unhappy with that, maybe you should consider resigning on your own terms. After all, you used to freelance, and that might be a better fit for you." His words made his true intentions crystal clear. Bob's plan was to pressure me into resigning by forcing an undesirable transfer. For me, if I was to be transferred to a branch where hardly any work comes in, it would probably be best to leave the company. Feeling the unfairness in Bob's actions but knowing arguing would be futile, I simply responded, "Understood. I'll submit my resignation form," and quietly left his office. I had always put in effort, hoping for recognition from Bob. But all that effort went down the drain. Though I was filled with a deep sense of frustration, I had a meeting set up with Catherine the next day. It would be unthinkable to cancel the matchmaking date the day before after expressing my interest. I should apologize sincerely. With that thought, I headed to the cafe lounge in a suit the next day. Arriving about 10 minutes earlier, I nervously waited for Catherine. Then precisely on time, she appeared. Wearing an elegant gray dress and carrying herself gracefully, Catherine looked even more beautiful than in her photos. My heart began to race upon seeing her, but I had to tell her the truth. Although, before I could say anything, with a warm smile, Catherine started introducing herself. "Sorry to keep you waiting. My name's Catherine. I'm really looking for you. I'm so sorry. I have something I must apologize for today." Seeing me bow and apologize as soon as we met, Catherine was visibly taken aback. "The thing is, just yesterday, my boss ordered me to transfer to a branch office. The real purpose behind this is to push me to resign. So, in about a month, I'll be going back to freelancing. I'm truly not in a position to date anyone right now. I sincerely apologize for initiating this meetup only to bring you such news." Upon hearing the details, Catherine responded calmly. I had thought anyone would be rightfully angry if they heard such things during a matchmaking date, so her reaction was quite surprising to me. "Is that so? That must have been tough. Thank you for being honest with me." No, I'm so sorry." And so, we just had one cup of coffee and then went our separate ways. Honestly, I wanted to talk with her more and was curious about the type of illustrations she creates. But with my future job becoming uncertain, it might not be the right time for a relationship. I probably won't get another chance to meet such a wonderful woman like her. With such lingering feelings, I headed to the office the next day and was again summoned by Director Bob. Now what? I thought, noticing that Bob seemed different than usual. "Kevin, sorry to ask this, but could you hold off on submitting your resignation? We actually received a direct job request for you." Previously, unless it was something significant, Director Bob would allocate work considering each employee's capabilities. It was my first experience receiving a direct request. "From where?" I inquired, and the response was unexpected. "It's from Inspire Publisher. Who would have thought a major publisher like them would scout you directly? Inspire Publisher is a top-tier publisher. I never dreamed of receiving work from such a big name." According to Bob, a webcomic artist named Sarah Cherry was releasing a book with Inspire. For some reason, she specifically requested me to design the book cover. After reaching out to the publisher, I was informed that Sarah wanted to discuss the job in person, So, the next day, I visited the office for a meeting with Sarah. I had intended to submit my resignation, but this unexpected job offer felt unreal. First, I should check out Sarah's work for the design. So, I went online to look at her creations and was immediately captivated by her world. The gentle color palette of her illustrations was very endearing and soothing. But her work wasn't just cute. Sarah's drawings vividly conveyed everyday moments of wonder, making it understandable why she has so many fans. I wondered, what kind of person is Sarah? With anticipation for the next day, I headed to the publisher's office and was led to the meeting room. But the moment the door opened, I was shocked. It was Catherine, the woman I had just met for the matchmaking date. Caught off guard, I managed to say, "Could it be, are you Sarah Cherry?" With a smile, Catherine nodded. "Yes, I work as an illustrator under the name Sarah Cherry." I knew Catherine was an illustrator, but I had no idea she was Sarah Cherry. In astonishment, I slowly said, "But Catherine, are you sure I'm the right fit? I'm the only one in my company with a vocational school degree. There are many more skilled designers out there. I specifically want you." Cutting me off, Catherine looked at me straightly. Her expression was full of seriousness. She then shared, "Actually, I've been following your work for years. Ever since I saw your mermaid princess in the poster contest, I've been a fan. You've known my work. I'm honored." I couldn't believe that Catherine had recognized my work from 3 years ago. She continued, "3 years ago, I was in a slump, not producing much, but when I saw your mermaid princess, I was deeply inspired. The mermaid's desire to escape the dark sea and reach the shore where her prince awaited resonated with me. I felt that as long as I persisted like that mermaid, I would eventually see results. Your work inspired me to persevere." Catherine, realizing someone was touched by the emotions I poured into my work, was the greatest joy. It's not just about creating beautiful graphics. If my own creation had truly moved someone's feeling, there's no greater joy. Catherine's eyes filled up with tears as she continued, "That's why I was so thrilled when I heard about our matchmaking date. I've always wanted to meet you, Kevin. I've longed to have a conversation with the person behind such marvelous work. Meeting you through a mutual friend was like a dream come true. I can't believe a designer like you would be transferred to a regional office. That's why I directly reached out to offer this job." I can't express how grateful I am to Catherine. She gave me such an incredible opportunity. For my part, I'm ready to give my all for her. Thank you so much. I'm truly fortunate to work with you, Catherine. While I'm unsure about the future, as fellow creators, let's produce the best work possible. After our miraculous reunion, we had an in-depth discussion about the book's design. Since it's Catherine's first book, she's particularly attached to it, and I too felt a strong desire to meet her expectations. Interestingly, the content of her comic presented Catherine's journey to becoming a successful webcomic artist. When I asked Catherine about her preferred cover design, she responded, "Well, since the story is about dreams coming true and a happy ending, I think a bright cover would be suitable." Hearing this, an idea immediately struck me. "I'd like you to help with one particular aspect," I said, sharing my concept. Catherine agreed enthusiastically, saying, "That sounds great." Together, we co-designed the book cover. A year after meeting Catherine, the book I designed became a bestseller, selling over 200,000 copies within 6 months of its release. Thanks to Catherine's charming original characters, the book garnered popularity across various age groups and was highly praised for its readability. Moreover, our collaborative cover design was applauded for its excellent taste. For the book, I themed the cover around the Little Mermaid. But unlike before, she's not the mermaid from the dark, deep sea. This mermaid, having come ashore, gazes at the blue sky and the brightly shining white sand beach with a radiant smile, and the mermaid illustration was crafted by Catherine. Interestingly, the mermaid embodies Catherine herself, who overcame difficulties to realize her dreams. Thanks to her adorable art style, the design turned out even more appealing than expected. Moreover, representing the mermaid scales with holography was admired as being innovative by the publishers, and since then, I've been receiving direct job offers from Inspire Publisher. At this rate, as the director, there was no way they could transfer me to a rural branch office, so the idea of my transfer was cancelled. Surprisingly, this episode led Bob to reassess his previous attitude. "Kevin, I read the book you designed, and it was truly impressive. Not just a pretty cover, but it perfectly aligned with the world of the comic, creating an entire universe. I feel ashamed for previously emphasizing academic credentials so much." Perhaps it's his genuine passion for graphics that made him recognize and appreciate the effort I poured into the design. I've always been aware of his profound skills in art and design. "There's so much I've learned from you over the years. No matter what, you'll always be a designer I deeply respect." Upon hearing this, Bob, for the first time, showed a gentle expression. "Thank you, Kevin. Your words truly mean a lot to me." While I had reconciled with Bob, there's more good news. To everyone's surprise, with the book's publication, Catherine and I began dating. As we collaborated professionally, we came to recognize each other as irreplaceable in both work and personal life. We continue to inspire each other in our work and maintain our relationship. And now, 6 months later, Catherine is publishing another book, so we're teaming up once more for the cover design. What design should we go for this time? How about this? I quickly sketched a scene of a wedding ceremony featuring a bride and groom. Why the sudden shift from a mermaid to a wedding scene? Well, once the mermaid, fascinated by the sea, comes ashore, wouldn't she want to marry her prince? Catherine blushed and laughed. "You do realize that mermaid represents me, right?" "Yeah, so, can I propose to be the prince? The mermaid who saved the drowning prince?" "Indeed, Catherine is my very own little mermaid."